comes to Thompson Speedway in Thompson, Connecticut. Capulet Fest, July 1 and 2. 2 days of rock and fireworks. Over 30 bands on 2 stages. Capulet Fest, the ultimate dream come true for every die-hard rock fan. And Berlin, All That Remains. Norma Jean, Memphis Mayfire, Catch Your Breath, A Skylit Drive, and many more. Capulet Fest, July 1 and 2. Buy tickets now. CapuletFest.com. Witness history in the making. Defy the stars.
Previously on What's Your Bacon in 7 Questions with Spencer Chamberlain.
Bacon. Is it a topping? Is it a side? Or is it a main course?
See, I don't think it's a main course. So I know bacon is your podcast, so maybe I've disappointed you, but I don't feel like it's a main course because the way I view it is it's both A and B. Man, that there is no answer there. It's not a main course. It's a
BLT?
The bacon place of the burger.
BLT is just a waste of time, in my opinion.
Well, that goes without saying.
Okay,
that's
like,
agreed.
What are we actually doing here? Why is there not something else in the sandwich?
Right.
Bacon! Bacon is my podcast! Bacon! Bacon is my... Bacon! Bacon is my podcast! Bacon! Bacon is my...
I moved this. I didn't mean to move it.
Why'd you move things?
I didn't mean to move
Like,
it.
we had things good. We're not ending. Like, we got another show to do.
I know. We're just starting. So, welcome to Bacon is My Podcast.
Yes.
Check baconismypodcast.com to get all the newest stuff from our sponsors and all that kind of good stuff. If you're a patron, thanks for being here. If you're listening on ASMR, you just heard us open some Topo Chico hard seltzers.
Yes.
Strawberry guava.
It's delicious. Today, we have the continuation.
Yeah.
Of
if you saw What's Your Bacon in 7 Questions, you saw us unable to end. We just started getting in a good conversation, so we just rolled through.
Yeah. So we didn't even end it with a What's Your Bacon, et cetera,
Right.
which is why we don't, spoiler alert, ask him at the end of the episode. But this episode, we have Spencer Chamberlain, the mind behind the band Slow Tide.
Indeed.
And also lead singer of Underoath.
Yeah, a great conversation. Really cool dude. Talked about a lot of music, a lot of life,
family,
a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of
creating
stuff.
moments, lots of cool stuff.
Yeah, so
he's got a lot of cool things going on with Slow Tide, and I can't wait till some of this stuff comes to fruition because we're gonna be there.
Yeah, but for right now, definitely, if you didn't, go check out Slow Tide on all the streaming platforms. Right now, there's 3 songs. Well, depending on when you guys listen to this, but at the time of shooting this, there are 3 songs there. Check them out. All very, very good. Very cool. The closest I can think of as a description, if you're trying to go from like, well, if I'm listening to Underoath, what's this like? It's kind of like...
Not Underoath.
If you understand Head Automatica from Glassjaw.
Right. Yes. Yes. That's a really good...
very different type of thing, which is awesome. We get into that a little bit too, about like why going a different direction is super cool and why that was the best move and the best decision, and to be able to use that other part of your brain. It was just good, man.
Yeah.
Had a good time.
Yeah, it was a good time. It'll hopefully happen again soon because we didn't... we do our notes and we didn't...
Yeah, we asked like two questions.
Yeah. So we're going to start that episode right now.
Everything, if you're talking to Slow Tide online through Instagram or Twitter, you're talking to me, like, which is a cool thing because I can't do that with Underoath. I can't really do that with my personal page because it's just big enough to where you don't have time to respond to all the messages. It'll take you all day. You know, you basically be just talking all day. And I feel like once you start responding to people, you got to respond to everybody. And what's cool right now is with Slow Tide being as new as it is, you know, and just starting out, like I'm getting to like, it's almost like I'm getting that VFW hall vibe from the back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's stuff from the early Underoath days where I remember those conversations, and a lot of those kids that came up with us, like they were at the VFW hall or the basement show and grew with us the bar and then went with us to the venue. And then Now we're doing arenas and small amphitheaters, and they're still there. And I remember those people and those conversations. And to me, the community of what that was and how the scene, quote unquote, started was very like community based and community driven. And when I started the Slow Tide thing, is I wanted to do that again. And like a lot of like, I'm so glad that I didn't start in the streaming and social media era of music. And then there's a part of me that gets envious of like, oh, these people got to build like a real community with people around the world before they even went out there and grinded. And there's a part of me that's envious of that, but also thankful that I got to do it in my way, the real way.
Right.
But now, you know, as reality sets in, especially throughout COVID and coming out the other end of it, is like, I really got into the idea of like, instead of fighting the fact that it's like, I just want to play and be a live band and people want to see it and that's why it grows. Like, that's not really realistic anymore. And I like kind of dove into the fact of like, cool, like let's actually build an online community or a place where people can have fun and be themselves and feel accepted. And I'm the one leading all of it, because with Underoath, since like 05 or 06, it's been like, minus the songs. Obviously, the songs are just me and Aaron's lyrics and the band writing. But everything else you see is filtered through 6 people and a manager and a label. It's like when there's a post, to me, it's so like it has to go through so many people before it's like, here it is.
Right.
Sure.
It's less like a conversation.
Yeah, it's not. You're not hearing from me unless you're hearing the song. Like lyrically, you are, and on stage in the show, you are. I really try to connect with people on stage. But like online, you aren't. And I don't like that. But there's nothing you can really do. You know, that's just how it goes as things grow. And what's cool right now is like the Slow Tide thing is like, I feel like I'm writing the emails, I'm writing the responses, I'm commenting back on people. I'm trying to build like a cool community of like, it's opposite of Underoath. It's like as far opposite and removed from Underoath as possible. Not to be anti that. It's just, I write tons of music. I always have. I just wanted to do something that I've got that. I've got the dark side of my brain, and I get to do that with my friends. I'm blessed. I'm thankful. I've been doing that my whole life. I get to continue to do that. If that's all I ever do, I will be thankful till the day I die. But I do have all this other shit that I do in my brain, and like I'm always writing for other people. And I was like, COVID hit. I was like, I need my own thing, and I want to build something, and I want to like connect. I think the isolation of COVID left me longing for those connections of. Like a lot of like sitting there reminiscing of like before the band was big and playing shows and just loading out our own gear and talking to the kids as you're loading out. Yeah. You know, they come up and like bring you a beer, or they're like bringing out the merch table and you're just talking and you're sweaty, like all that stuff. Where I'm like, man, I don't know if I'll ever get that back. And at one point during COVID, you were like, man, I don't know if we'll ever get to play a live show again.
Right,
so
there's
all these different thoughts in my brain. So I was like, I just want to make something, and I don't want it to be based off of the audience I already have. And yes, some people will like it. People just like music, but it's not meant for just Underoath fans. Like I could go make a metal record and sell a bunch and probably sell out shows tomorrow and go on tour, you know, and make money. That to me, that's a cash grab. Like Slow Tide isn't about money, or it's not about fame. It's not about anything, but like I want to use another part of my brain creatively that I don't need to put into Underoath. Like I don't want to try to force these feelings that I have and these things that I need to express into stuff where it doesn't belong. So I created a new space for it. And I love that in the process of doing that, once I was done with it all, I was like, oh, now I have to start like, I got to come up with a name. I got to come up with, and now I started being like, you know, I'm going to give it as equal attention as I give Underoath, because with Underoath, it's like less is more. You know, you can't tour, and I can't hit Buffalo, New York 3 times in a year. Like people just go, oh, I'll just catch you next time. Right. You know, you can come to these cities maybe once, maybe twice per record cycle.
Right.
You know, so you're looking at less is more a lot of times. So it leaves me with a lot of time to create and be creative and even play shows, tour, festivals, whatever it is. But I do like the fact that I don't have to, like when I did Sleepwave, which was a project I did when Underoath broke up, it was still in the era. It was just now changing and shifting. But we were under the impression of that we had to get out there and grind. Mm-hmm. And we toured the whole world in that 2-year cycle and literally burnt ourselves down to the ground. Like we were so burnt out, no one wanted to do it again by the time we were done. I was halfway done making the second record, and there was no one else left in the band. It was just so. I do love the fact that I'm like, I want to build some sort of community online, which A, I've never done. B, I've never had the chance to communicate with these people and like do that post Underoath like blowing up or whatever you want to call it. And I think it's like a fun thing for me to do, and I can build something before like, let's make a demand and then like have a really cool first show. Like, how often do you get that first show back? Like, oh my God, I was at the first Nine Inch Nails show, or I was at the first Tame Impala show. I was at the first Foo Fighters gig. Can you believe that? Like, and a lot of those things just happen because bands used to just play. I think it'll be cool to like kind of build some sort of momentum and either get some festival offers or a support tour, but not go out there and headline to headline when there's like, you're just killing yourself at that point. And touring is so expensive, you know. Oh, hello.
We got a run in.
Hey, what's up?
Moppy.
We got a run in. Hey.
For the little interview, ran full speed. Yeah. We got Little Miss Princess, the next rising pop star.
Nice.
She plays, she dances every time I play the guitar. She's already playing the keyboard's right here. She's already playing my keyboard. She's a music lover. That's what she loves.
That's awesome.
Very nice.
Camera right now. So, but yeah, I think it's really cool and exciting to be able to build something and like start like that. You know, like build some sort of demand before I go out there and play, and then like celebrate the first show with people that like want to be a part of something, and like make the shows important and make them special, not just play shows to play shows.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of bands get in that. And like I said, post-COVID, I don't want to make this whole thing about that, but the prices have changed.
Oh, yeah.
And things are, even for a band on Underoath's level, we've had to make changes because what we were doing before COVID, even though our tours after are even bigger. Every tour we've done since we've gotten back together has been bigger than the one before.
Right.
More tickets sold, more, you know, so you're seeing things go this way, and it's like, oh, we're on a trajectory going up, but expenses have gotten so high, you actually have to do less.
Yeah.
Unless you're touring to tour and not, you know, pay your bills or whatever. And some bands do that. Like they're playing 500 cap rooms with full production because they don't, you know, that's maybe not how they make their money, or they got. Underoath has been a band since we were teenagers, and that's our main job. So, you know, we want to put on the best show possible. But the way prices have changed, it's like, it's literally double to do anything. It costs double, you know, and tickets aren't double, and merch isn't double. So you're definitely feeling it. So that being said, with Slow Tide, I want to make it awesome, and, you know, like, and make it fun in a community for people, and people to feel like they're a part of it. It's like every time someone shares a song, like I make sure I tell them, like, you are part of this now. Right? Like, you sharing that, like, let's say you got 15 followers, the odds of those 15 people maybe not following me or having no idea what I'm doing. You just shared my song to 15 new people, and let's say 4 of them are the only ones that listened to it with the sound on, and 2 of them clicked on it. You just helped me grow my fan base 2 people.
Right.
By just simply sharing something that you're listening to with your people. So I make sure with Slow Tide, I always reach out to people like, hey, thanks for spreading the word. Like, you're helping me build something literally from nothing. Because I haven't played a show yet. Or granted, I'm like, I've got it, you know, it'll be great when it happens. I'm already, you know me, I'm like, I've been working on this for over 2 years, and it's like, it's going to be dope when it happens, but like, I'm not going to do it until the time is right. And that unfortunately means things have to pick up online, and that's my weakest area of expertise. So.
It's all of us, man. Like, we're all in similar age, and, you know, doing the band stuff. So we've been at the cusp of like, as well. Oh well, we can't pay $200 for an interface and make a record in my basement. We were there, and now we're here too, where we can literally with a $200 interface
we can make a podcast,
make an insane,
Right.
Timeout time.
How those balls looking?
You know what season is, right?
I do indeed. It is time.
It is time for smooth sack summer. And how do I keep everything smooth, everything tidy, everything the way it should be?
Well, I don't know how you do, but I'll tell you how I do. Manscaped, buddy. You know it. You've been listening. You've been seeing the show. We've been talking about it. You know how much we love the crop mops. You know how much we love the lawnmower, but they have the Performance Package 4.0 now.
Where they did a little upgrade to the Weed Whacker. Weed Whacker is, of course, the nose and ear hair trimmer. It is now the 2.0, as opposed to the 1.0. Now,
right. That's one better.
I used the 1.0. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then they sent the 2.0, and I said, how could it be better? It is. It just is. I don't know how they do it, but Manscaped keeps upping their game. And
I've been digging the lawnmower for a long time. Right. I like the skin safe technology. I still use the guard. But no, I have not once nicked a thread on the beanbag.
Yes.
Not once.
Yep.
No, you don't want to lose any beans.
No.
Everyone.
No, you
You don't want to lose beans, and with other methods, oh man, you could lose a bean.
Yeah.
But not with Manscaped.
Exactly. And also, they are getting into the beard game. They've got their brand new beard trimmer, which is fantastic. So go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code BACONPOD, and that will give you 20% off and free shipping.
That's right. So don't forget to work on those testicles, your chesticles, and your cheeks. Keep them clean and ask yourself, what's your bacon? Smooth Sack Summer. And I think you said something that's like super cool that I think is awesome is that, and I didn't even think about it when I was kind of like, when I was researching and listening to other things, interviews that you've been on and listening to the music, I didn't even think about the fact that you're saying like, how many times do you get a chance to do a first show? And you get to do it from the perspective of building it this whole new way too. So you get to like ground floor something, but control it from a whole different place and perspective. So you get to kind of like control the fact of, hey, I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to be at this first show. And I'm already building something. Like, how cool is that for you? How different is that? And how, like, how exciting is that for you to kind of like be on that side of it and be able to plan that out?
To me, it's amazing. I mean, it's like to have like that opportunity, you know. I was even saying that when I was making the record. So I made the whole record in the back of my house and recorded everything, played every instrument, yada, yada, yada. I got done with it and I was like, this is great. You know, I'd signed to a small label. It was during COVID, so that was probably a mistake because no one was signing anybody. So
right.
I probably should have waited, but no one knew what was going to happen. And I was like, I gotta start building this or whatever. And so I went to my buddy. I'm not sure if you remember the band Therefore Tomorrow. Were you familiar with that band?
It sounds familiar.
It sounds familiar, but I honestly, I probably
they did work for a couple times. They, you know, they were more on like the pop punk-ish. Maybe not pop punk is the wrong word, but they were super great. I don't think they really ever caught on super big or anything, but they toured a lot. And the drummer for that band was drummed in Sleepwave, and the singer of that band is like a really great producer, and he's just a good buddy of mine. And then that drummer who drummed in Sleepwave ended up going on, and he plays drums for Dashboard Confessional. So long story short, as I called him up and I was like, I am maybe crazy, but I have this idea and I want you to reproduce this. And I just dropped him a Dropbox. I was like, here's all the songs. And he hit me back like the same day, like, holy shit, like this is great. Let's do this. Like, I will clear my schedule. We cut the record in 2 weeks or something like crazy. I'm an insane person. Like, the reason why I love Micah so much is he's so fast he can keep up with the fact that like I'm playing bass and the second it's done, I've already got the guitar. I'm like doing a guitar lead. Like we're just moving. So I probably stressed him out because I'm just like go, 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 go. Like when I'm in the studio setting, I always run. Go, go. And we, you know, like I wanted to go to someone that I trusted that I also think is a brilliant producer because I needed someone to tell me, like, to knock me down a peg or two if I had some parts that weren't strong enough. And like we found a few like that. Why is that pre-chorus that. Well, the chorus is so good. He's like, yeah, but every part has to be that good. You know, like stuff like that.
Right.
And like we rewrote a few things in the studio and the last day, I think I was flying out the next day at 8 in the morning. At like midnight, I was like, I've got an idea. And he was like, oh God. I was like, I think we need one more. And he's like, what? we worked, maybe it was like 9 o'clock at night. It was like dinner time, and we worked until 3 or 4 in the morning. I was like flying out the next morning at 8 and wrote one more song in the studio, finished it to the max, and like did this whole journey. Wow. He probably wanted to die after that, but he was a great report about it, and it ended up being like our favorite collaborative moment. Yeah, I remember telling him, you know, how often do you get to think about like their first record? You know, when people like always, no matter how much a band grows, that like the first record you fall in love with the band is always going to be like your staple. It's not saying it's better. It's not the band was better back then. Well, hopefully most of them. Right. I would say sometimes the bands were better back in the early years, but a lot of times it's not. It's just different, and things grow and mature, and people change.
Well, and they didn't exist before that, so you had no reference. Right? Yeah. And then once you have a reference of that band, of course it's going to sound like a derivative of, because you're going to hear some of the same things because it's the same band, you know, whereas before you never heard it.
And like that, I looked at them many times during that process, like, we're making that for somebody right now. Mm-hmm. You know, like doing this first record, like there's going to be a group of people that once this comes out and I do some shows and touring on it and then make the next run and the one after, people are going to be like, oh man, remember that first record came out? Right. That was like so important. Like that's going to be, it's cool to think about that because I've done it before, you know, like coming into a new thing, being like, this is my first ever, you know, Sleepwave was a duo. I was in sign bands before Underoath, and I've done lots of things as a solo artist, writing for other people or working on their tracks. But I've never really stepped out as a solo artist and done a completely departure, my own thing. So it was like, this is my first time doing that. And it's exciting. And I remember telling him like, dude, we're creating that first album moment. And and it's just like, this is obviously a long answer to your question, like about with the show and the first tour, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I want to make important merch with that, like, because I see that, like, we collect a lot of vintage shirts and stuff, and me and Aaron go to these places, and we went to this place recently on tour, and this guy had this crazy collection of all vintage band stuff from like their actual tours, like stuff that was worth so much money that you couldn't even touch it, you know?
Right.
And what are you trying to do here, Miss Baby?
She just wanted to hang out, you know? Yeah. Welcome to Bacon is My Podcast.
You're the youngest member on the show.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is
you
true.
are.
You were the youngest member on the show.
My kids were originally the youngest, but now...
Yeah, but you just won. You just beat them.
Yeah, you're 21 months old, and one day they'll look back at this and be like, oh, Rain, the pop star, when she was a baby, was on the podcast.
See?
Right?
You just made this show somebody's first experience seeing you before you were a famous pop star in the future.
Yeah, or something.
We created more. Or famous whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe she'll be in a metal band. Maybe she'll be in a rock band. We never know, but she definitely seems like she's all about music. But anyway,
just awesome.
back to the story of like the vintage merch, and I noticed that, like, all the early Rolling Stones and Zeppelin, and you know, like a lot of the Brit rock and all that stuff, like they had dates on the shirts, like specific shirts, because they didn't tour the way that bands do now. So it's very specific, like Chicago '73 or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And I really want to bring that kind of into what I'm doing with Slow Tide, is making like the first tour very like merch for the tour that's about that being the first tour, and the first show having its own thing, and the first time ever playing Detroit, the first time ever playing Chicago, the first time ever playing, you know, LA, like all that stuff being like remembering these things that I've learned as I've grown up, of like, that's really cool. And, you know, like these are things that I like. So I'm going to try to like integrate it back into the music industry to where I don't see that stuff anymore.
No,
I don't see
it's true
specific stuff. I know Underoath's tried to do it a couple times. It is super expensive to do that. But if I'm doing, especially the first couple of Slow Tide shows, I couldn't imagine it being on a tour unless I get some support offer. But even that, even if I did support first, they'll still be the first ever headlining show.
Right, yeah.
Headlining tour, the first ever, like those kind of things will be, it's just really fun stuff that I want to like note in, like.
Did you have this mindset and like thought process back in the day when you were starting with Underoath?
No, you're playing shows all the time.
Yeah, you're just kind of in it, right?
And you're stoked to print your first merch.
Right.
This is what's happening right now. He's picking out every pack of guitar strings I have.
Nice.
And either delivering them or throwing them on the floor.
Right.
So that's where we're at right now. No, I didn't have.
She doesn't like the slinkies, So
I didn't have that mindset back then. Okay, have fun. Mom. Okay. I didn't have that mindset back then, and I just think it's cool that because Slow Tide isn't something that's like when Underoath was starting, even when Sleepwave was starting, it was like if things don't move fast, like you're missing a meal or you're not paying your rent or whatever. Like it was like life and death for everything. Every moment is life.
Yeah.
And what's cool is that Underoath's been back together for since 20. When did we come back? 2016.
2016 or something like that. Yeah.
And so we're we're all very stable. The band's very, even though there's been some online drama, it's not what anyone thinks it is. The band's healthier and more stable than it's ever been, and like things have been moving that way since we got back together. It's like that's my thing. That's my bread and butter. That's my job. That's like my main thing. So everything I do is Slow Tide. I can like focus on and like slow down. Like let me think this out. Like how do I want to present this first show? How do I want to present this first piece of merchandise or this first tour, or even the first album? Like,
sure,
which is shifted, and it's cool that it's ever shifting. As of I got it done, and I released a song, and then there was some legal bullshit that I had to sit and wait, and that really kind of fucked me up for a minute there. And then we started releasing stuff again, but it's kind of cool in hindsight. As mad as I was because it had nothing to do with me, it was company stuff. And I was just caught in the crossfire. Now in hindsight, I'm kind of stoked because of the way it's shifted. Is like it's very single based now. Yeah. So I've got the vinyl ready to print and all this stuff, and I was like, well, let's pause for a second because we don't even know when. Like, let's just go song by song until we start to latch on a little bit, and then we can plan when the album drops. Because before it was a very strict, like we're going to drop the album after 2 or 3 singles, maybe 4, then we're going to drop the album in the summer. And now it's just been like, well, let's just take it single by single, and if a song latches on and actually streams, which is harder than you could imagine, I guess.
Yeah.
It's literally impossible, but if it does, we can be like, okay, let's ride this out for a minute. Why do we want to just dump something else on the fire because it's burning? Like, let's let it, let's keep stoking the fire, and then let's see where that goes. You see it all the time. Like a band's got a single and it tracks and it gets streaming, and then all of a sudden it's on Sirius XM, and then FM picks it up, and then you've already got another single on, and you're like,
yeah,
it's like just
that's how things get lost.
Yeah,
they
it's
just get lost in the sauce.
Even though like I really do think this record could have benefited from a really big label and a really big team. I don't have that right now, which instead of being bitter about it because I made a decision at the wrong time during COVID, I'm looking at it as like, what are the positives I can look at this? I can kind of control things a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah, you seem a little bit more hands-on with that kind of end of it.
So, yeah. I'm like, and it's one album. I can sign to a big label on the next one if I want to, or I can stay this route. It doesn't, like right now I'm very, let's see how this goes. Like let's keep building this thing instead of being like, because a lot of those big teams is like they've already got it planned out. When you turn the record in, there's these dates on your calendar when this is going to drop, this video, this album's out, you're on tour. It's like, and if something happened during that time, like what if you fell down and broke your leg and you couldn't tour, or a single latched on and took off and then you just dump something else on the fire? Like you can't really slow down. So I like the fact that right now I'm like, I'm building a community. I'm trying to communicate with people, trying to make people feel like they're a part of something, and hopefully they're stoked on the music. And I feel like there's an audience out there, people that don't know Underoath that would love this. There are some people that like Underoath that do love this, but I don't think that was my target audience. You know, I was just trying to like, music is music. I love good songs. I love good stories. I love good lyrics. I love good melodies. I love a good breakdown. I'm not a one guy person. Like even before I joined Underoath, like my first tattoo when I was 18 was Radiohead lyrics, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, I'd go see Radiohead, and then the next day I'd go see Dillinger Escape Plan on Calculating Infinity Tour or whatever.
Right.
Like I was a little kid listening to Poison the Well, but also listening to Coldplay. You know, like
Sure.
I wasn't ever like I'm a metal guy. I identify as a metal guy. I was just like, I'm a music guy. I love music. Like I went, you know, the first show back from COVID, me and my wife got a babysitter. It was the first time going out since having a kid. And we went and saw 9 Inch Nails.
Awesome.
But, you know, love 9 Inch Nails. But then last night, for example, we went and saw, the reason I had to move the podcast, like Matt Mason, who's like a kind of like a, I don't know what you would call it, singer-songwriter type guy.
Yeah.
Right.
And just as much into that, you know, like, so I just like good music. I'm a music fan. I'm never going to lose that side of me that I'm always, I don't care if you're 5 years younger or 50 years older than me, like good music is good music. We can all learn from each other. Everyone does it different. Like the finish line is here for a song. You can go this way, that way, this way to get there. It doesn't, there's no right.
Absolutely, man. There's no wrong turns, just alternate routes.
Yeah. And it's so, to me, I find it so inspiring to see how different people do things. And if you're open-minded and you're not, I don't know why people get butthurt when some other band is big or bigger than you or having a moment or having, like, I think it's dope.
All right. Time out. We've got all these awesome sponsors here.
Right.
Where can they find all the information out for that?
Oh, if only there was a place. If there was only
A portal.
a hub.
A central hub to
A
do so.
central location.
I think there is.
Do we have the technology?
Yes. Baconismypodcast.com is where you can find the best deals on all of our awesome sponsors, including Drink Wild Bills, Pod Decks, Manscaped, all of them. Go over there, find their promo codes. You always get the best deals. But what else can you get over there?
Well, not only can you get the best deals, and we'll always keep those up to date, you can also help out the show by grabbing some t-shirts, some swag. Jump over to the Bacon is My Fashion section. Yeah, there's a whole section. It's just there for you. It's there for you. You can check it out. We have nice t-shirts. They don't chafe. They're nice to the nips. You know I like that.
You know Jimmy's
You know
all
I
about
like
his
that.
nice to the nips.
I'm like the
shirts.
Drax of this show. You
Exactly.
know? I got sensitive nipples, man. I got sensitive
fine.
nipples.
It's
If
fine.
you have sensitive nipples, check that out. And you know what? How about your ear holes? You want to take care of those ear holes? Because you can find links to all of our episodes. How about your eyeballs? You want those eyeballs? You can find links to our YouTube, Strangerhood TV. You can check out everything right from baconismypodcast.com. It's easy. It's super simple. It's right there. What's your bacon?
I will say that when you go to this site, that will be your new bacon.
That will be your new bacon. Check it out.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so weird. It's so it is very weird because and I saw this in somebody's interview that I recently saw. I can't remember what band or who it was that was talking about it, but they were like, music is an interesting thing because I think it might have even been like Zach Wilde.
Yeah.
Somebody was talking to him about like the best guitar player or something like that, and he was like, "What are you talking about?" He said that it was something that another guitar player had told him. He was like, you know, in music, people from the outside always like to think in terms of like best, and he's like, but there's no best. It's not like, you know, in baseball there's a best team and you know because you win the game. But music isn't like that. It's just your favorite or the thing that you like, and that doesn't discredit anything else. Like, you know, and
Your favorite band could be the local band that can't even play on time together. And that-
exactly,
okay. And like
it's how
that
it makes you feel. You know?
Yeah, it's all, you know. I'm not a big country music guy, but some of my friends are like, that's everything to me. And I started to listen and like think about it. I'm like, I get why. You know,
Sure.
I probably don't like it because I was born in North Carolina, and all the people that were not our people, like
right.
football players and the jocks and like the people that picked on people like us for skateboarding and listening to rock music, that's like where I associate the roots of country and like all that kind of shit. So, but like when someone that I am friends with tells me this is my favorite and check this song out, and I'll listen, I'm like, I get why, like, and that's fine, and it still doesn't change the fact that that's not for me, but I can respect it.
Yeah,
of
course,
like, there's
we talked about it. We had a whole episode that he and I just talked about tribalism in music, and anybody we talk to, especially nowadays, I feel like it doesn't, like, for some reason I feel like it doesn't exist, but it does. Like you look at when we were at So What Fest last year, like it was everything from you guys in Wage War to like
Black Bear and like
Black Bear,
right?
And like they had the rap stage with like Trippie Redd and stuff, and it's like there it doesn't exist, but for some reason people go, oh well, this is the guy from Underoath, and now he's doing this like synth pop thing. Why is that weird to you? Like why is that so weird to you? Like people listen to other music just because.
Well, and I think that's that. I understand why. So it's funny because I've had these conversations a few times about Slow Tide in general, and it's like, and people that I've done interviews with in the past, even from 15 years ago, remembering me like quoting stuff from like Cage the Elephant or like Oasis, even like my love for Oasis. I check this out. Like I've got a whole wall of Funko Pops on the other side, but like like this is my idol right here.
Oh, dude, that's great. Liam,
I want to talk to you a little bit about Oasis for sure.
That's fantastic.
Like that, that's always my joke with my wife is that when our daughter first came home, would cry. I'd put on anything with Liam on it, be it his solo stuff or Oasis, and she stopped crying, and I'd be like, "It's my kid."
See, there you go. There you go.
Well, see, all right, yeah, that's great. Keep going with that because I do have a question.
People remembering those different things that I've talked about, like my love for Radiohead and Coldplay and Brit rock in general, and down to like everything from Foster the People, Tame Impala, and Cage the Elephant to Gojira or whatever, everything in between. The Deftones, been a lifelong Deftones and Nine Inch Nails fan, like my whole life, and so on and so forth. But people that know me, like my friends and like other people I've toured with that like actually know me, Slow Tide isn't a surprise at all. Like they're like, yeah, this is like your shit. Like when we're hanging out, like when we come to your house, when you're driving your car or like playing the guitar backstage, like this is the kind of shit that you jam. Like people will like come in the green room and I got one of those speakers on, it's like shit like this or whatever. But people that don't know me, and I feel like the world knows me of Underoath, and that's maybe like 10% of who I am. Even though it's a huge part of my identity, it's my words. It's like I do believe strongly in the band, and I'm very thankful, and I will always do that and always put my best self forward. I'm always trying to outdo myself with Underoath. That'll never stop. I'm not neglecting that side of me. This is just another side.
One doesn't take away from the other. Yeah,
this is like, it's the people that know me, like I said, is like it makes sense to them. People that don't, it's a shock. And I can only compare it to the people that think it's a shock is being like, let's talk about movies for a second. If you were a director, would you want to only direct comedy? Or would you want to only direct horror? Or only direct drama? It's such a weird thing. When you compare it to movies, it makes sense. I mean, maybe horror is maybe a bad example because some people do just horror, but like a lot of people don't. Like, like you can have thriller to horror to drama to comedy to romantic to animated to children's, like whatever. Like there's directors that do a wide variety of things, but you can still tell it's them, it's their flavor.
Of course,
yeah. It's not weird for them to break genre.
Or a chef, Yeah, right. You got a restaurant and you got your menu that you cook every day, and then you go home and you're not gonna cook shit off the menu at work.
There's a famous chef that lives here, and she has 5 restaurants, and they're all like 5-star and completely different.
Yeah.
Like one is like chicken and waffles type jams.
Right, nice.
And the other one is like 5-star, like you're gonna get like weird octopus and squid, things that
Nice,
you
nice.
never,
Right. Things that don't go with chicken and waffles.
Right.
Yeah. And it's the same person, and that's like
Yeah.
what I talk. And I always talk about the movie thing. It's like if I was a movie director, and I've been doing it my whole life, like you would have to shoot me, and I think it would be. It's such a cool job. It's, we all love movies and television
Of course,
shows,
yeah.
like storylines and stuff like that. If you're a musician, you typically love good storyline. I think it's such a cool job, and it's like I couldn't imagine even if having one of the cooler jobs, like doing the same genre all the time. Like you're just gonna do horror, or you're just gonna make comedies. Like God, that would drive me nuts. So I think the same way with music is that I think at one point, especially Aaron and I tried to fit things into Underoath that maybe didn't belong because we needed to get some things out of our,
Of course.
But now we both have lanes for that, and I think the only thing it does do is let Underoath be what it needs to be and breathe. Underoath's this living, breathing thing that not even the members can put their finger on why it is what it is and what makes it special, other than it's 4 guys that write everything since 2003, the same 4 guys, except for disambiguation when Aaron wasn't there. The 4th guy would have been Daniel, but we've always been able to get to the finish line alone, but somehow it's only this one little thin line where we can barely all agree on one thing because we all do different things when we get to this line. That's what makes Underoath. But it's like almost letting it be even more Underoath because, I'm not trying to fit some pop melody with falsettos and a pop synth line counter melody over the vocal in an Underoath song because I'm just feeling it. I need to get this. I need to write this. Now I have a place for it. And who knows? Maybe Underoath will need something like that. But that's nothing's off the table. But I'm just saying, I think it's cool to be able to have different outlets to put your energy.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, I'm Amber.
And I'm Maddie.
And we're Witches Talking Tarot. And this season we've got for you ghosts, cryptids, conspiracies. Oh my.
Check out what role we cast Emma Robertson on our myth episodes this season.
Yes. And in addition to our myths, we will be bringing you the holidays because we may or may not have missed one this last season. I guess you'll have to listen to the last episodes to check it out and then catch all our new episodes coming up every Tuesday and Thursday on your favorite podcast platforms and see us on YouTube.
Come and sit with us for a spell.
Well, you even said earlier you were talking about like how you could, if you wanted to, go put some metal thing out and it would just be a cash grab and you could probably headline, you could probably do things, you could put something together to do that. Well, just now you said like doing this doesn't take away from Underoath. If you went and did something that was in the same genre, I feel like that would be almost more of a something that could take away from.
I agree. Yeah, I think it does take away from. If I made some heavy band, it's like that takes away from Underoath.
Yeah, then you're competing with yourself.
The reason why I stopped doing Sleepwave when Underoath got back together is because although they weren't the same, in Sleepwave was supposed to be very different from Underoath, but it was still heavy rock. It was heavy music. It was rock forward, heavy, and a lot of that stuff that I was writing with a little tweak here and there, it makes a great Underoath song.
Right.
So I was like, I'm seeing people fizzle out and no one want to be here, and also Underoath wanting to go and be a thing again, which is my whole life. I owe it to that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to just, if no one else is here and it's just me, I'll just stop.
Right.
It stopped because I didn't think it was needed. People message me a lot about it, like, oh, is there ever going to be another Sleepwave thing? Probably not because of Underoath, to be honest, because I just feel like it would take away.
I got like Stabbing Westward vibes from Sleepwave.
Yeah, that's the goal.
What I got.
It was, dude, it was cooler before a producer got on it. No offense to the guy who produced it. He's a great producer. It just got too polished. It was way more grungy. And I was making the second record with Matt Goldman, who did Define the Good Line. He did Lost in the Sound. He did Disambiguation. He's got more of like a raw sound. And I was halfway done with it. And that stuff was really dope. It was really like, yes, industrial, but it had this grunge element to it. It was just dirtier. It was more pissed. You know, and it was like finally like the second record was like, this is the sound I was going for. But it was a great learning experience. I learned a lot from that process of like what not to do and like stepping out and like, you know, doing a bunch of different stuff. You know, like it was like my first time doing a lot of things, and it really did change the way I view a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's the rebound.
Yeah,
if you will.
Yeah.
That's cool. I do want to ask you about your love for Oasis, because actually, I like out of nowhere yesterday I saw on Twitter Noel Gallagher shitting all over the 1975s.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was like,
slack jawed.
Yeah, he was just like, I even asked my kids. I said, "Is this real? Are you messing with me? This is rock and roll or whatever?" Yeah, he was. Do you think they're gonna get back together? I mean, like I know Noel is kind of being a hard ass about it, but I mean,
I didn't think so until recently, and I think it's gonna happen. And I think, you know, I talk about this a lot. Is like, there's still not a band to this day that's cooler. Even though they got super mainstream and blew up as big as they did, there was no one cooler. Like, even like a lot of times when you like listen to something that's that big, like it's got this cheesy element to it.
Yeah.
Because the big wigs get their hands on it, they manipulate. It's got to be this, you know, it's almost like it's got to have a Taylor Swift or like a Imagine Dragons, like this like super over the top pop stuff that like sells.
Right.
Obviously it sells. Like we know this sells, so let's massage it and make it sell more.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But like Oasis never had. Oasis was just a fucking rock band that fucking played rock and roll, did drugs, and drank liquor. You know, like they were just as real as it gets. And the fact that it was that big and became that, and then you go through the breakup and you look. I look at bands that have been that big, that are considered bigger than Oasis, like, or, you know, like Led Zeppelin, U2, Rolling Stones, okay, Robert Plant, Mick Jagger, Bono. None of them could play Nebworth alone as a solo artist.
Right.
But Liam can.
Right. Yeah.
Such a testament to me to like his presence. Like, he's to me one of the last remaining real rock stars. Him, Trent Reznor, and Dave Grohl. Like those are some of like those dudes are real rock stars. Everyone else, our generation, it's all fake. Everyone's like trying to be famous and pretty pictures of themselves. And no offense, but I don't think any of us are anywhere close to where the rock stars that came from the 90s were. Like, there's just something about the attitude and of like, but it being real. It's not.
Well, they didn't call themselves rock stars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like now everybody calls themselves a rock star.
Well, it's grotesque.
And it's like, you know, partying like a rock star.
Yeah. But
I'm a banking rock star.
But like,
you know, like
who else could do what Liam just did last year, Nebworth? They did it with Oasis. You know, like Led Zeppelin has done it, and you know, like, but like no one. I don't even know if Paul McCartney alone. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, but like, there is no Beatles to reunite. You know,
sure,
right.
And when he did it, he probably brought Ringo along or whatever.
I do think if Led Zeppelin reunited, maybe, or Pink Floyd, if David Gilmour and
Roger Waters
fixed it and like they did the original, maybe. But even those guys alone couldn't do Nebworth, but Liam can. So, and I think I saw where Liam was like totally okay with getting back together. He's just waiting on his brother. And I think it's going to happen. And I think it's going to be there's no bigger reunion that I think could ever possibly happen. And it's weird because I don't think, you know, go to Walmart, go to Target tomorrow, go to Walmart, go to the mall. You'll find Led Zeppelin shirts. You'll find Rolling Stone shirts. You'll find Nirvana shirts. You'll find all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, you'll find Guns N' Roses, Nirvana.
You won't see Oasis, which is so weird because it's like, but they could possibly be the biggest band in the world, maybe. Just no one. It never became like that thing of where it's like Led Zeppelin is fucking cool. They were inventors of some of the most heavy, cool shit in that era of like they blazed so many doors, but like, man, is Oasis bigger? You know what I mean? Like, that's just such a wild thought. it's not that it matters your size. Like, who cares about how big you are? I just find that very interesting in hindsight of like, I never got to see Oasis live. Been a fan my whole life. Like, I went in elementary school, I was wearing a Nirvana shirt, and the kid that I went to school with, his family was British. His parents were full-blown British. He was the first generation born here. Like, they had the accent and everything. And he was an Oasis. And I remember went over to his house after school in kindergarten. He put on the Oasis CD, and I was like, oh my God, like, this is where you guys come from, like, you know. And I've been a fan my whole life and never been able to see it. So I have a pact with our drummer, Aaron, that the first show they announced, because I don't know, maybe maybe it won't be a whole tour, maybe it won't.
Right. It might only be one show. You don't know how long they'll last. I
think it's going to happen, and we've made a point to where, like, we will book a flight and fly to United Kingdom for a show to see it and be there and stand it. It's like, we're getting in it. Like, I don't want to be. Not saying we would ever get backstage because we're like, I wouldn't even want to try. I wouldn't want to care. I was like, I want to experience it. I want to be in it. And like, we are going, I don't care where it is. I don't care if it's fucking Germany or if it's Tampa. Wherever the show is, like, we are going. And if we have a show, like, we might have to have a makeup show for Underoath.
Hey. You know, like, you got to make sacrifices, man.
I have a quote unquote hot take. So people have like said shit to me over it, but I think Don't Look Back in Anger. That's still, like, they've got a lot of like really awesome songs, right? Yeah. That's my favorite, but my favorite performance of it is from the Unplugged show when Noel sang it.
Okay,
interesting. I know.
I have to go back and listen to that again.
I know Noel is a fantastic songwriter, and he's got a great voice. But I don't want to see Noel.
No.
I don't want to hear him really. Like, I mean, I'm fine with some of the songs he sings, but I'm like, I'm just waiting for Liam to do Liam. And like, Liam's not the best singer in the world. He's just.
He's the best singer for them. You know?
Yeah, he's also got it.
Yeah, it just, there's something about it to where. Dude, last night, my wife she had like this, her back was killing her. So she's like, I have to like get a massage. I can't move. So I was like, go get one, you know, I'll put the baby down. No big deal, you know, go. Because it was like the only appointment they had was late. So I give my daughter a bath.
Use that gift card I got you.
Yeah. I give my daughter a bath, and she comes running in here like she has twice already in this interview. And I was like, oh, I still got to warm up the bottle. I got to do this. And I was like, how can I captivate her for a second? And we don't use TV a lot, but I turned on YouTube and just put Oasis, and she was just enthralled. She was
nice.
And I was
That's
like,
awesome.
Man, like, yeah, man, there's something about it. And I think it will happen in our lifetime. I surely hope so. I would definitely, you'll find me there. If you want to, if you're like, man, I wonder where he is. If you were ever to guess, the first thing is their first show back is I will be there.
Nice.
I don't care if it costs me, you know, a whole month of bills to do it. I'm doing it.
It has to happen.
I don't know. Right. I don't know if it'll, you know, when it'll be, or maybe it's just wishful thinking. But I feel like it's coming.
That's awesome. You brought up your daughter, and in a past interview, you were talking about how you used to cook. How sometimes you cook dinner and you pour a glass of wine and you just completely forget about it and stuff like that. So now, as a dad of a 21-month old
human,
it happens. It happens to me all the time. I will literally forget, like, coffee. Sometimes I'll forget bathing or brushing my teeth for the day because just like.
How old is your kid?
I have two. I've got a almost 10-year-old and an almost just turned 7.
Oh wow.
So do you find yourself that happening to you, and then like you finally get to sit down and go to do something, like go to do your job or go to write something, and just go, oh, I gotta go back inside for a second.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten real lucky that, you know, she is, you know, with these sleep training things, it's like a course. It's like an online course. And it was the most incredible thing. Like a lot of my friends had done it. My older brother had done it. He's got 2 kids. And it's just like a way of you kind of teach them how to sleep. And at 5 or 6 months old, it's safe to do it or whatever. And we did it. And it says it's guaranteed to work within 14 days. It took us 3 days of like, this sucks. This sucks. All I want to do is pick her up and put her in the bed or whatever. And by day 3, she sleeps from, it's shifted as she's gotten a little bit older, but now she sleeps from 7:30 at night to 7:30 in the morning without moving.
Wow. So
we get our nights back. And it's been like that since 6 months old. And granted, at 6 months, you had to wake him up. We'd had to wake her up. And you do it like really, it's really interesting. Like, and I found it's funny because I'm not a social media guy here. I'm about to talk about someone's social media. I found it through Instagram. It was like this lady who's a million people sent me her page when, I said that we were going to have our first baby or whatever. And she's just really good with all this stuff. And like, there was like some online course and we did it. And at first, like, you go in when they're younger at like around 11 or 10:30 at night, because they go to bed at like 6 at that time, and you pick them up without waking them up, turn the lights on or anything, and you give them a bottle, and then you put them back down when they're done without like talking or being loud or turning lights on. And we did that until she outgrew the nighttime bottle, and now she's just 7:30 to 7:30, and you're just like, wow, dude, at 7:30, I'm like, I can cook dinner. Like, we get a babysitter just to sit at our house and watch Netflix.
Right.
Isn't that wild? It's like I literally get a baby. Like, we went and saw our buddy Matt Mason last night, and it was just like, I just paid someone to come sit on my couch and watch TV because my daughter doesn't wake up.
That's awesome.
It's a sense of security feeling knowing there's someone.
Right. Yeah.
And I get that, but it's like, it's wild. It's like we haven't had to do that. Like, we need a break. Like, we got to have someone come in here and like, so we can get out and go on a date. When we go on our dates, we put our daughter down ourselves and have someone come and just hang out here, and we get to do our thing and finish our thing. It's like we shower and eat and then go out to dinner and come back, and you're in bed around midnight. You're up at 7. You still got 7.5 hours of sleep,
Hey everybody, I'm Amber.
And I'm Maddie.
And we're Witches Talking Tarot. And this season we've got for you ghosts, cryptids, conspiracies. Oh my.
Check out what role we cast Emma Robertson on our myth episodes this season.
Yes. And in addition to our myths, we will be bringing you the holidays, because we may or may not have missed one this last season. I guess you'll have to listen to the last episodes to check it out, and then catch all our new episodes coming up every Tuesday and Thursday on your favorite podcast platforms, and see us on YouTube.
Come and sit with us for a spell.
I will say I did luck out because, my parents were around for a while. My in-laws were around for a long time, or are still around. My parents went down to the Carolinas, and my in-laws are still here. But, in that sense, we always got our time. Like, if we wanted to go to a show, everybody was like, okay, let us know. There were people fighting over him. But my son would, like, when he was younger, he would not sleep. He would just not sleep for any reason. It was just insane.
Yeah, I also think there's something you also, the lot of that is also luck, I think.
Yeah, well, my daughter, she used to be like a 7:30 to 7:30, and now she's like all right, she's 7, so
right.
Like, now we're trying to put her down like 8:30. Okay, go ahead in your room and go ahead and read a book and stuff. And then like sometime, like the other night, she waltzes out at 10 o'clock. She's like, yo, it's hot in here. And like, it's like, what?
Yeah.
You couldn't do that. And she gets up at 5, 6 o'clock. My son, same thing. Doors, whap, closed and everything.
Oh.
It's, but I will give you a little bit of reassurance. Don't worry about terrible 2s. 2s are easy. 3s.
Bad.
3s are where you look out for, because they start getting opinions.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, she's not even talking yet, so she is She's an outdoor kid, though. She wants to be outside all day. She wants to run around outside, and she wants to go swimming. I started swim lessons, like swim class.
Oh, yeah.
We do it every Monday, and she swims. She loves water so much to where at one point we had to keep the door closed to where the tub is because she'd just run to it and start screaming because she wanted to get in it. Like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, like, we're not giving you a bath right now. What happened? So, yeah, the water thing is dope because that'll be cool as she gets older. But right now it's all about just being outside and swimming also.
That's awesome.
Favorite things. Oh, and music and dancing. Like, she loves to dance. So if you put a song on, she'll stop dead in her tracks and just start, like, dancing. So
that's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah. But we actually, it turned out, because we were supposed to be in California, and we ended up having to cancel the event that we were going to be at, and I got to see my daughter's tumbling, or no, not tumble, acrobatics.
Right.
Little recital. It was cool. It was cool. So yeah, you got some cool shit to look forward to, man.
Yeah, I'm stoked, man.
It'll be cool.
I couldn't be more happy about it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. What another thing that I did want to say, bring up, is actually we almost ran into each other last year. We were actually at So What Fest covering it as press. We asked for you guys, but they were like, no, the Underoath is doing it. It's a fly-in gig and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, totally understood. So then we went to a little restaurant called the Pioneer Restaurant in Arlington, Texas. And I ended up seeing out of the corner of my eye. I was like, oh shit, that's Spencer Chamberlain over there. But I was like, you know what? Don't bother him. He's a fly-in.
Right,
who knows?
yeah.
But breakfast-wise, what's your jam when it comes to breakfast? I mean, like, you're doing the healthy thing usually, but when you're out on the road, I don't know how healthy you could get at that Pioneer Restaurant.
Yeah, I took an Uber there because I read it on Yelp. And I was starving. God,
that's how we got there too. Same thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know. And I remember if that was the day before the show or the day after, I can't remember. But I remember that I'm glad that I did it. I think it was the show day because I got to the show. And by the time I got there, they were out of catering for the bands. And I was like, oh my God. Like, what if I wouldn't have eaten that fucking breakfast?
Right.
It was like, I know you're stuck there, you know, it's not like we had a bus with a bunch of snacks and stuff on it. I was just like, you know,
shit.
Yeah, I mean, typically, I'm down with a good light breakfast. On tour, I typically, I'll skip. I'll go straight to the gym in the morning and then crush like a protein shake on the way back and then do like a healthy lunch. At home, I'll do like, you know, like eggs and grains or, you know, I don't know, some sort of lighter breakfast. But egg, I love a good egg. I'm an egg guy. I like eggs.
Eggs are good.
Yeah.
And I like, you know, I like the turkey sausage or chicken sausage, the options that are a little bit less bad for you than
right
the pork stuff. So even though this is a bacon podcast, so I feel like
all forms of bacon are welcome.
Yeah,
all forms
except for beef bacon. If you ever get a chance to try beef bacon,
Not so
don't.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that. It doesn't sound interesting to me either.
No,
Yeah,
it's no good.
It's no good. It's no good.
But we welcome all forms.
Yeah.
But we've also taken up a bunch of your time today, so I want to thank you so much for that. We're going to wrap this up for you. You know, there's a few things we didn't get into. I wanted to mine you for Melissa Cross experiences because I've had some myself, and you know, so we might have to do this again in the future. And
you know, like I said, I'm dropping a song about every month and a half. Like, I'm always down to chat with good people that love music, like you guys do, that like a good conversation. And you know, we can always do it again.
Yeah, awesome. I will tell people, and I'll let you know. Lay Low is definitely is going on my summer driving playlist because as I was listening to everything, I found myself I kept going back to that one.
Yeah, that's not even the catchiest one on the record as far as like that kind of jam of like summer jams. Like there's so much in the tank for that album. I'm just kind of like I wanted to start slow and kind of build some stuff before I drop like the bangers or whatever.
Nice, yeah.
There's nobody following, you know. It's like it's not like, and like Instagram is such bullshit anyway. It's like I post something and like nobody sees it, so I'm like,
right, yeah,
right.
Like,
the algorithm is a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
But
like when I need it to work, it's like great, and then I'm like,
right,
it doesn't, and then I'm like, oh, my dog shit the bed, you know, and like, oh, 8 million views. Right? Why? Well, last week and no one knows.
Here's a fun thing.
My dog shit the bed to this song. And
right. There you
go. Here's a fun thing. Don't fall into it, but if you want to get verified, you're like the band thing, you cannot.
Right.
You cannot. It has to be only personal pages or large companies. But they were very happy to take my $15 when I was like, I'm going to try and verify this podcast to see if anybody sees this fucking post.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
So, yeah.
It's such a weird thing now. I don't know.
But, so we'll close it up on this. It was, I usually ask this question twice, but we were already in good conversation, so we didn't really do a split between What's Your Bacon and 7 Questions and now. So I'll ask you now, like we talk, like bacon's in the name and we talk about bacon, but our idea behind the whole thing was bacon's kind of something that, like, when you think about whatever dish it is, it's something that maybe isn't necessary, but that comes in and it makes everything better. And so we like to think of that as like a metaphor for in your life. Like a lot of people have that, whatever their lives, whatever they got going on, they have that thing that's either an escape or something that adds to their life or something that makes it better, makes it positive, makes it exciting, that thing that they keep going back to. For some people, it's music. For some people, it's movies or reading or cooking or whatever, video games, whatever it might be. After talking to you, a lot of the stuff I'm hearing is a lot of like moments for you. Honestly, you've brought up and talked about like moments and creating moments and realizing moments a lot. And that's something that I also kind of like. That's one of my bacons in life. But I wanted to ask you before we let you go here, Spencer, what would you say? What's your bacon?
Well, outside of music, I mean, it's always been music and creating music and having that outlet for me. But like, yeah, I mean, cooking's one of them. I love to cook. I did for a long time. Can't believe I have to keep talking about COVID. It sounds so stupid, but COVID kind of ruined it for me because we had to be home and cook every freaking meal. It got to the point where I was like, I don't ever want to cook again.
I'm not doing this for fun now.
I really, really did enjoy it for the longest time, like getting into different recipes, knowing what you're cooking, like picking out your protein and picking out your, like looking at your vegetables at the store and being like, well, this one, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
About like grabbing what your recipes and like and doing it yourself and eating and it's like being creative. Like creativity is my thing, be it drawing and painting, which I'm fine at, but it's not really my huge thing, and creating music, which is my lifeline, which if I make a bad song, everybody suffers, from my family to the other members of the band's family. But like creating with food is so great because it's like not being a chef. It's like, I make a bad meal, whatever, we'll eat another one or I'll cook another one. Like, fuck it. This is terrible. Let's order something.
Right.
You know, there's no pressure and you can be really creative and you've learned, like I've gotten different things that I did really enjoy about it. I've, you know, once you have a kid, like, you know, the age. So I'm like under 2. I'm like, I don't have the time right now to do what I was doing before having a baby with, but I will again at some point. Like I love like cooking outside, like cooking on the grill and putting my recipes together. There was this one restaurant I never got to go to in this place we used to visit, and their thing was I'm sure it cost a lot, I don't know, but you would go out with the chef and pick. It was in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and you'd pick he'd take you, like, you grabbed your vegetables out of the ground, your sauces, and I think the meat obviously is already there or whatever you're cooking with, but you're like picking the stuff out, and then he cooks with it in front of you, and then you eat it. I thought that was like, what a cool idea. Sounds expensive and not
right.
But I would love to do it because I know, cooking. Like I was thinking outside of music. I don't know what else. You know, skateboarding has always been my thing, but as I've toured and jumped around on stage my whole life and skated my whole life. Skating is, I love watching it still and riding around, but like, man, does it hurt to fall now?
Right.
Right. I'm not trying to hit like a, 10 stair anymore. I'm like, oh, I'll talk about the spot and ride by it. Like,
right.
That's like something I would have done like 10 years ago,
Yeah. Well, knees change, man. Knees change.
You know what? It's not even that. It's like, I feel like I busted my knee like when I was 20, and it just never was the same.
Yeah.
Skating is so rough on your body. Like street skating is so rough on your body, and being on stage the way that we are is rough on your body. So I've just been kind of rough on my body. So.
Well, nice. Well, we will let you go, and thank you so much for hanging out. And I would say creating is your bacon.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the theme throughout the whole thing, which is pretty awesome. I love that. I love talking about that, and I love getting to know a little bit more about it. So one more time for anybody that just came onto this and didn't hear the What's Your Bacon, let everybody know where they can find all the music, where they can find you, and where they can communicate on the socials.
My Instagram and Twitter at WS Chamberlain. That's CHAMBERLAIN. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram. I do not have a Facebook. Underoath, there's a Facebook, and there is at Underoath Band on Twitter, at Underoath Band on Instagram, and probably TikTok. Who knows? And Slow Tide is spelled without the W. So it's at Slow Tide Band, just like Underoath Band, even though it's just me. I just habit, I guess, when I grab the handles. So at SLOTIDE Band on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, maybe other things. But definitely Twitter and Instagram. Like, those are the easiest ways to communicate with me. And if you're following Slow Tide or listening, and that's where I can communicate with people the easiest, because it's not blown up yet or into the point where I can't handle it myself. So if you're talking to someone on Instagram or Twitter and be it Slow Tide, then it's definitely me. All the other stuff, I can't promise you who you're talking to.
So everybody definitely check out Slow Tide. Check out the music.
Put it on a playlist.
It's really, really good. Put it on a playlist.
Put it
share
on
it with
a
your
goddamn
friends.
playlist now.
And contact them and tell them how awesome it is, because it really is. The music's really good. We
Thank you.
It's awesome. It's going on my it's going in my rotation.
Summer jams.
My summer jams rotation for sure.
Honestly, when I make music, when I make heavy music, I try to remember, what is it do I want to hear? What do I want to hear? What am I missing? Because there's a lot of feelings that heavy music gave me growing up that I was like, oh, or like free, or that's scary, or that the vibe made me feel something. I miss that a lot now.
Yeah.
Not a lot of bands hit that mark for me, and it's no diss to bands. It's just who I am. So I try to create that. And with Slow Tide, was like, what do I want to hear? What do I want to hear from, like, that side of my brain? Of like, when I'm driving my car, when I'm at the beach, when I'm at the pool, when I'm at nighttime, like night drives. Like, I just wanted to make something that I wanted to hear. And I was like, what do I want to hear when I'm in my car? Well, I'm going to go create that. And that's all I did. So
I think that's the best way to make music.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And I'm not saying my opinion is the only opinion. I'm on this earth.
But it's genuine, and that comes through,
Yeah. It's my creative process of, it's who I am. I'm almost trying to make a soundtrack to my brain, like how I feel. I can't always say how I feel. I'm not really good at that all the time, so I make it in lyrics and sounds. Sounds make me feel like a chord progression with like a weird top line to it makes me feel as much as a lyric could. And I think when both happen, Radiohead's really good at that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Coldplay's really good at that, where you're like, the sound makes my heart hurt. And then he starts singing something that you're like, oh my God, that's a win-win for me. But like, if one or the other is doing it for me, be it the sounds or the lyrics or melody, but if all of them are doing it, then it's like perfect. So I try to just make a soundtrack for my brain, because I'm like, I don't know how else to express it. What do I want to hear? I'm going to go try to make that.
Love it. That's awesome.
Awesome. Well, Spencer, thank you very much. Everybody, always remember to ask yourself one super important question.
The most important question. What is it that makes your day better? What is it that makes your life better? What's that extra thing for you? What is that side, that topping, or that main course that makes your life just a little bit more interesting, that does it for you.
More gooder.
Yeah, more gooder indeed.
What's your bacon?
What's your bacon?
Love it.
Good, right?
Yeah.
You guys know it was good. Hey, thank you guys again for listening and all your support. We really do appreciate you. We appreciate your ear holes. We appreciate you giving us the time. Thank you to our patrons over at patreon.com/baconismypod. You guys keep the show running. If you are interested in being a patron or helping out the show, just go over there and check it out. The tiers are not expensive and they're very cool, and you get a lot of extra stuff. If you're not ready to do something like that, but you still want to help the show, head over to baconismypodcast.com. Check out Bacon Is My Fashion. We have a brand new t-shirt that we just put out right now, and that is for Pride Month. And I don't remember how much it is.
Oh, that's great. Well, it is Pride Month, and we support the LGBTQ plus community, and we wanted to do a little something to show our support. So proceeds of this will be going to...
See, you don't even remember because...
well, I was trying to let you...
You jumped in too far. You jumped in too far too fast. All right, so right now these shirts are $30, and a portion of all the proceeds of them will go to Outright International. Outright International is a leading international human rights organization. They're dedicated to improving the lives of LGBTQ people who experience discrimination or abuse on the basis of their sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression. So definitely help us out, show support, and we are here. We are allies, and we love everybody. Bacon is for everybody. And the good thing about bacon is it comes in all shapes, all styles, all variations of, and it's all amazing. Just kind of like human beings.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, where can they find you?
Me, personally, I'm at Me My Own Self Mike on the socials. You can find out about my family and all of the other things that I do. One of the other things that I do besides this and family things is my band, Something Heavy, at Something Heavy Music. We're on all streaming platforms. We got a new single out, Just to Live Again. And yeah, what about you, Jimsy?
Jimmy G's Shoes on all the socials. My band Craving Strange can be found at cravingstrange.net. From there, you can find all of our stuff on all the socials. Check us out for some shows. We're going to be playing a bunch more shows this summer. We're actually going to be trying out new material and going and doing some pop-up things, playing at some small places, some places with bands we've never played with, last-minute things. We're just going to kind of do it and see if we can't see how some of this new material goes, because we are working on new material for new recordings. So come check that out. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you like it. As always, you can find our stuff,
all of our stuff,
his stuff, in video form at strangerhoodtv.com. You might be watching it on that right now, because that is the home of Bacon Is My Podcast.
Yes.
If you are listening, then check out strangerhoodtv.com for everything visual. You can see that. You can see stuff from Something Heavy, stuff from Craving Strange. You can also see shows from our buddies in our bands and bands in the scene. You can see the top 20. You can see my top 5. All kinds of stuff on there. So just check it out. See what you think. Always give us a subscribe, give us a share, give us a thumbs up or the heart or whatever it is that you can do. It really does help. It just helps maybe one other person know we exist. And that's really the hard part of doing this job.
If you learned nothing from this episode, it's that it's really hard. All of this is very hard.
Yeah.
So give us a shout, give us a like, give us a review. If it's a poor review, at least tell us why.
Tell us why.
And like Slow Tide.
Yes.
Listen to Slow Tide. Don't just listen, but follow. Follow. Add them to your playlist. Add Craving Strange to your playlist.
Yes,
because
add
it
Something
all
Heavy
helps.
to your playlist.
It all helps so much. So go do that.
That's how you help
now.
your favorite bands.
Exactly.
So go check it out. If you like us, do it. If you hate us, do it.
That's right.
All right?
And always
ask yourself
one super duper important question.
The most important question
of all time
that you could ever ask.
You want me to do it, huh?
I'm just seeing how far we can go with that.
Oh, okay. What's your bacon?
Yeah. Whoopee.